I'm wrestling, do not weep for me. Celebrate what I am. Celebrate what I have been. Celebrate what I represent. And celebrate the many ways I have impacted your life. I will survive this test as I have survived others. I am forever etched into the very fiber of all mankind. The world needs me. Time is on my side. History guarantees me. I am wrestling. Do not wait for me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 31 or 32. I'm not really sure at this point, Tommy. We've been going for a long time. Of the T-Row and Funky Show. I'm your host, Ben Askren. With us, as always, is Tommy Rollins. And Tommy, let me tell, before you even chime in, let me tell you, we got some big guests today. We got your man, J Jaggers, coming in, talking about the Cavs. And we also got Mr. Chael Sonnen, who wants to chime in a little bit about, the professional wrestling front, and then also about his new promotion, the Submission Underground, which is going to actually air in July on Flow Wrestling. So we got a big episode. I know you're on vacation. You got anything for us to start out with?
No, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good. You're in South Carolina? Where are you at?
I'm in North Carolina at the beach. The Wi-Fi says I got perfect signal, so I'm hoping that we don't have any issues here. I lost you there for 2 seconds, but yeah, two good guests, man. They're both pretty charismatic guys. They'll have some good commentary, and we're going to talk about some fun stuff with them, so looking forward to it.
Nice. And are you a Cavs fan or not? Because, that's what we're going to start out with J Jaggers on, so I got to know what your stance on the whole topic is.
I am not a Cavs fan.
Not at all, or just like
you're here's the thing. Here's the thing. I loved what went on for the people of Cleveland, and I was completely enamored and consumed by the last 3 games, and it dominated my thoughts for the better part of 4 or 5 days. I loved the whole thing, but it's hard for me to say I'm a Cavs. I haven't lived and died with the agony of Cleveland sports the way that all of my Cleveland contemporaries have. None other than J Jaggers is probably the most impassioned fan in the city of Cleveland. So I don't feel comfortable saying I'm a Cavs fan, but was I rooting at the top of my lungs for the Cavs? Yeah, man, and I loved watching them win. It was awesome. Yeah,
I agree. You know what? Something that I've noticed that I really have gotten into lately is, and it's been a couple people recently who I haven't been a fan of whatsoever, but after seeing them fail so many times and come up short, and they finally made it, man, my heart goes out to him. So the first one was Nico Megaludis, right? Who, if he would have lost in the finals this year, he would have been the highest finishing guy to ever not win a title. And I have never, ever been a fan of Nico Megaludis, but to see him win that title was fantastic. And then a couple weeks ago, another guy, Michael Bisping, who I've never been a fan of in my entire life, goes and beats up Luke Rockhold, wins a UFC title when, he's been chasing that forever. He was like the one guy who never got a title shot, who has been around and who's fought all the top guys but hasn't got that title shot, and he made the most of it. And then, I think LeBron goes into this category a little bit. He has won before, but he's also lost in the finals a lot. And there were a lot of people doubting him, saying he couldn't do it. And I'll tell you what, he got in there, he got gritty, he got it done. Did you see his stat line, Tommy?
He led both teams in every stat category. He was number 1 in all of them.
Every stat category. Points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. If that's not taking over, I don't know what taking over is.
Did you see how many? I completely agree. And what LeBron did on the court was nothing short of amazing. What that team did was nothing short of amazing. Even though it doesn't happen very often in sports, I would say that we don't see something like that every 3 or 4 months. It's once every couple years you see a great, gut check type, world-class level. But what happened to the city of Cleveland is even more, and how it has put the city on hill, and just the reaction from all the people of Cleveland is, to me, even more of an anomaly. And that leads me to say, though, did you see the pictures of the parade yesterday?
I saw, you know what, Tommy? I saw that one picture that you, maybe it wasn't you that retweeted. It was somebody that retweeted. The people were on the parking garage. It was freaking insane. But, Tommy, you are neglecting to mention one thing, and that is the fact that it had not been 50 years. It had only been 2 months since Cleveland had a champion because
oh, gosh. Don't tell me
Wrestling
Stipe
Zone,
Miocic.
Stipe Miocic, one time. We got J Jaggers calling, so let me click him in here.
Okay.
Yo, Jay, what's up? Jay.
Yo.
What's up, man?
What's up?
No,
hey, guys.
We want to talk some Cavs basketball. Tommy and I already got kicked off talking about a little Cavs basketball.
Jay, by the way, Jay, Ben doesn't like to let people know right when they call in, but it's live, like right now.
It is live.
You
know what? And know what? Another thing, Tommy, that my wife always tells me I'm terrible at? I'm terrible at giving introductions, so we should give Jay a proper introduction. So, calling in, if you don't know who he is, you're kind of under a rock, but we got J Jaggers, who is a 4-time state champion, 2-time NCAA champion, and the best damn dress coach in college wrestling at Ohio State.
That's right.
And a Cleveland native and a very diehard Cleveland Cavs fan. So, Jay, tell us what's up, man.
Oh man, we're still coming down, man. It was a wild weekend. I was actually up in Cleveland for Game 6, which was last Thursday, and
you
then
got to go to the game.
I didn't go to Game 6. No.
Okay.
I almost pulled the trigger on about a $250 ticket, and I decided to. I was down there. I brought my dad down there, so I was going to go to the game by myself. Instead, I decided to stay with my dad and a bunch of friends. So we just watched it, and then. Once we forced Game 6, it was a no-brainer that I had to get back up there for Game 7, even though it was away. And we went to the exact same spot that we watched Game 6. Got the whole crew together, about 40 of us, and we just tore the town up, man.
Wow. So let me ask you this, because I was just mowing my lawn, have my thoughts to myself, and I was kind of thinking, Jay, and maybe you don't make this parallel, but you were a high school phenom. You kind of, I don't want to say struggled, but relatively for how good you were, maybe struggled your first 2 years of college, and then your last 2 years, you really put it together and you won 2 NCAA titles. And so LeBron's someone who has been this superstar, but has kind of came up short a little bit. What's that like, maybe not reaching your potential and then coming through and hitting that potential that you always knew you had? What's that like from your experience?
Well, please let's not draw comparisons between me and LeBron.
I don't see why not.
No, man, he's. You know what? I on a very, 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 very much smaller scale, I kind of get it.
Sure.
Just kind of the weight that he was carrying. You have so many friends, and you guys do. You guys know how it is, man. From your youth days wrestling, your youth teammates, your youth club coaches, your high school coaches, your high school teammates. And then when you have, a pretty good high school career, they just expect it. Well, of course, it'll translate, right? We all know how hard it is. So,
yeah.
I kind of get it from that standpoint. Obviously, like I said, on a much smaller scale. Just the whole thing, man. The last week has been just, I'm telling you, it's been one of the greatest weeks of my life.
Wow. So I guess, Tommy said you were happy, but I did not realize you were that big of a Cavaliers fan.
Oh, it's Cleveland everything, man. Browns, Indians, Cavs, the LeBron factor. This leapfrogs this probably over everything right now. It's just how it happened. I told my buddy before the series, actually, my buddy Drew, I said, listen, it takes a miracle to break a curse, and we're going to have to do something absolutely crazy that's never been done before in order to win. I knew we were not just going to win our first title in 52 years by just like straight up beating them straight up 4-1. Like that wouldn't happen, right? It's got to be something crazy, something Cleveland. And man, to come back from 3-1 the way we did was crazy. I don't have any other word to describe it. It was insane.
You know what's funny though is that as the guy, and Jay already kind of put out the disclaimer with Ben that I am not a Cleveland sports fan per se. It's not appropriate for me to say that I'm a Cavs fan, but I love so many people from Cleveland, and I've seen the turmoil that I just inherently start cheering for Cleveland when they get in these positions. But it's wrong for me to say I'm a Cleveland sports fan, although I was really happy about the win.
Yeah, you've been banging your chest on the Broncos for 30 years, dude. Please don't come at me that you're a Cleveland guy.
I'm a diehard Bronco fan. I'm a diehard Bronco.
Right.
So that's a little too.
Jay, is it disgusting how much Tommy likes Peyton Manning, and I generally have a feeling that it's because Tommy and Peyton share that same kind of look, that he's got such a fondness of him.
Same face. They have the same face, so I get it.
Listen, I was a Bronco fan when Horseface was taking them to Super Bowl titles, but I agree.
That's true.
I just had a guy down pull tell me it looked like Peyton Manning, which, by the way, I consider that sort of an insult when people tell me that, but I've heard it so many hundred times, I'm kind of used to it.
Better looking.
At any rate,
don't worry about it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That actually does mean a lot to me. Anyways, it was interesting, though, because, in typical Cleveland sports fashion, had they lost that game in Game 7, let's say that the last 3 didn't go in Cleveland's favor, it would have been a typical Cleveland failure because they do enough to give you hope. And so was that stuff entering your mind those last 4 or 5 minutes of the game? It's like, this is how it always goes. We always get to the point where something great could happen and come up short. Was that back of your mind?
This one just felt different, man. I don't know what it is. Maybe, maybe it's the hindsight, but I'm telling you, this one it felt so different. With it landing on Father's Day and just how many fathers and sons were together in Cleveland, the way the series shifted momentum, I mean, they poked LeBron. They came after him after game 4, calling him soft, saying it was a man's league, and I'd never seen him. That was the LeBron we've been waiting for forever, even though he's been spectacular, man. That just angry, just pissed off LeBron. It was, I felt, honestly, I was so confident going into Sunday. I pretty much guaranteed a victory. Yeah. Now, when we were down 8 or so, at the end of the half, I got a little nervous, but I don't know, dude. It felt different. I don't know why.
I will tell you, Jay, you said there's a different LeBron, and I am not a close follower of basketball, but I watch here and there, and I got that exact same feeling. I think, certain people, they come to a point in their life where they draw a line in the sand and they say, not again. And that was what I feel like happened. I feel like he said, over my dead body is this going to happen, and I'm going to do everything I can. And when you're the best player in basketball, you can change the series single-handedly, and he did 100%.
Yeah, he was pretty dialed in, man. You could tell that, like, Game 5, after they came at him. Have you guys ever, I don't know, like you said, you might not watch a lot. I honestly, I probably watched 50 regular season games.
Damn,
if I can catch them, and I watch probably every single second of the playoffs. So I've never seen LeBron. LeBron's never gotten chippy. He's never gotten caught up in the smack talking, between, when he blocks somebody or whatnot. And in those last 3 games, he wasn't afraid to throw some shade, throw a crazy look at somebody. I mean, he was angry. Did you?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, I
probably
LeBron games
before Game 6 about the Lion. Yes.
Go ahead, Jay. I missed that last part you said.
Oh, you're good. Tom, you saw that hype video about the Lion, right?
The Jordan Burroughs video.
Well, did they do one for him?
Yeah, don't poke the lion. They did. Flow Wrestling did, and it got
I
don't know, like 2 million views or something.
Oh,
something
they used
crazy
the same little. It was like a clip from a movie. It was Christopher Walken. I mean, it was perfect. It fits for Burroughs too, obviously, but that was exactly what happened, man. And that's why the whole thing shifted right then.
My favorite part of the whole series, and Jay, you'll probably remember which game, it was when stuffed Steph Curry in a dead ball, because Curry like the shooter layups after they blow the whistle, and he went up a layup on a dead ball. Yeah,
that was Game 3.
He
hates Curry.
It was such a subtle act, but to me, it said a lot to me. I thought, like, this guy is competing. He's in a different mindset than I've seen in his career. I haven't watched him as closely as you have, Jay, but I was like, he's in a different mindset right now. And that was before they really turned it up. So,
yeah, that was Game 3, and then we actually kind of got Game 4 got away from us a little bit. I was a little nervous, but yeah, you're right, Tommy. He dialed up the energy against Curry in particular, just because he was probably just sick of hearing about him.
So sick of hearing about him. Even my wife was a fan of Steph Curry, and I don't know that my wife's ever watched a damn basketball game in her life. I don't know what it is about this guy, but people like him. And LeBron's like,
that's
no,
all right. My
I'm
wife barely watches it, and I'm crazy psycho fan, and she barely even tunes in. So I get it.
So how about what's it like? 3 minutes left in the game. Last basketball question. Then let's talk some wrestling, okay? 3 minutes left.
Yeah, we gotta
in the
do
game.
some wrestling here.
And the Warriors steal the ball. They're running down the court, and LeBron comes out of freaking nowhere and blocks the shot.
It's the best block I've ever seen. Best defensive play I've ever seen in my life.
Seriously,
I've watched a lot of basketball. It's 100%, not even close. In that, well, just the magnitude of the situation, obviously height the play, but it was the craziest athletic feat I'd ever seen. The way he closed on him. I mean, if he doesn't time that up perfectly, he either doesn't get the block and it goes off, or if it's goaltending, right? If it hits the backboard first, it's goaltending. Mm-hmm. Or if he's a step too fast, it's a foul.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just absolutely perfect. That's when you know somebody's dialed in. No different than wrestling. You can tell at the NCAAs when there's, some guys, they just get dialed in, man. You can just tell. Even as a coach, I can tell. Like, oh yeah, he's gonna win. I can just tell on Monday of the week of the Nationals, the way his focus is, the way the dude's just got it,
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it was like, and it's cool. I just love excellence, man. I know you guys, it's a wrestling show, and Tommy, I'm a big Cleveland fan, but whether it's, I don't care about what sport it is, man. I get into the World Cup. I mean, I'm not a big soccer guy, but I get into the World Cup because I just like the highest level of everything, man.
Yeah.
And obviously baseball, football, basketball are my sports, and that's why I love it so much.
For sure. So let's change gears a minute. Are you speaking of the highest level of sport, this is what you talked about, are you going to head down to Rio and support Kyle in any capacity?
No, I will not go. I think Coach Roselli's obviously going.
Yep.
And then Coach Ryan will probably, he's trying to figure out whether or not he's trying to figure out his travel right now. So I'll probably stay back. And, that's the week we get our team off the ground, that first week of class.
Yeah, okay.
We have a lot of meetings and stuff. So I'll be the guy that stays back,
Holding down the fort.
I don't know. I don't really want to mess with all that Zika and stuff. I'm cool on that. I'll take a pass. I'll watch it from my couch.
Did you guys hear that some of the countries are urging the male athletes to donate their sperm before they go down there, not to get too personal, because Zika can make you sterile? Yeah.
No, I haven't. I haven't dived into it yet, but yeah, I mean it's scary stuff though, man. It really is.
And on top of obviously the Zika, the Brazilian economy right now is going down the drain. And I was just talking to a fighter who has a lot of friends in Brazil, and he said the crime and the violence right now is no joke, and he thinks
right.
He was saying that he thinks something really bad is going to happen. Whether it's killing of some tourists or something like that was going to happen during the Olympic Games. So it doesn't sound like the dream vacation. No,
I'm good. I'll go Kyle. USA flag from my house. Good.
Nice. So what you can give us any inside scoop about the Buckeyes this coming up season? You guys got a pretty strong team coming back. Lineup changes look like they're going to happen kind of across the board. Any insider scoop?
Yeah, what do you want to know? I mean, I think
is Miles going to 84?
Yeah, that's the biggest question mark. It's Bo and Miles getting on the same page and figuring out. Bo hasn't been healthy for quite some time, but especially since the postseason. So he had surgery. So it depends if he comes back. Let's see, how surgery goes. Sometimes you come back like you atrophy a little bit. You can't use some muscles and you're smaller, or as the layoff from being able to kind of do some more cardio make you bigger. It all depends on the guy. We'll see what weight he comes back in at. It's a good problem to have. Him and Miles will figure it out. We'll help guide them, with the best knowledge that we have, and try to make our do what's best for them, but also best for the team.
Nice. Well, Tommy, we got about 4 minutes till our next guest calls in. You got any other questions for Jay, or are we good to go?
You gotta say that one more time. Breaking up.
Oh, well, I asked Tom. I said, Tommy, are we good to go? Because we got. Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Tommy, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Kind of, not really.
You sound like you're in a cave.
Yeah. Jay, cut this part out for us. Yeah, we
Does that?
No, you're rough, Tommy. We usually don't edit the show barely at all. But this, I think we're gonna have to edit this part out a little bit.
All right, one take Jay. That's what they used to call me in my high school theater class.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask you a last question, whether Tommy can hear it or Tommy can't hear it.
Am I in it at all?
There you go. Okay, Tommy, since you were out of it, I was going to let you ask Jay one last question, but I want to ask one last question since you were having trouble with the audio.
I'm not dialed in like LeBron style since I've been working on my audio the past 3 minutes. So just go ahead and take over,
okay.
Ben. I'm out of the loop right now.
So Jay, I think we got the same favorite move. The cradle's my favorite move by far. I want to say you got the same feeling. Now, do you think the cradle's a great enough move that if Tommy would have been taught it early enough, he might have been able to get in the double-digit pins in college?
I think I don't know if Tommy is tough enough for it, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I think anybody can cradle. Honestly, listen, Lou Roselli's got a really good cradle. He's
really?
Like 5'2". Yeah, he balls the guy up into a little package. He does a pretty good job at it.
Does he go inside or outside cradle?
It's a near side cradle.
Oh, he goes inside. Okay.
Yeah, basically, if you touch my right leg, you're getting cradled. That's kind of my rule.
Yeah, I see that. I would not touch your right leg. Well, you know, you're pretty tricky, though, because even when people go head inside, you usually take them head outside, then you go to your cradle. So, yeah, you know, if I was coaching someone against you, I don't know that I would advise that they shoot it all for the most part, or maybe just a double leg every once in a while.
Yeah, they better control the hips.
Yep. Well, all right, man. Thanks for coming on, and congrats to
no
Cleveland
problem.
Cavaliers.
Go Cleveland. Go Cleveland. Go Cavs. Go LeBron. Good job, guys.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
See you guys.
See ya. All right. We are joined now by our second guest, who needs no introduction because he's the biggest draw in the history of MMA. So we're going to talk to Mr. Chael P. Sonnen a little bit about, you know, the possibility of a professional wrestling league making in America. And also, you know, a parallel to that, he is starting the Submission Underground in July, which is actually going to air on Flow Grappling. So, Chael, what's up, man? You want to tell us a little bit about your new league coming on?
What's up, dudes? Yeah, I mean, pretty simple. July 17th, it's going to be on FloCombat, live and free for all members, and that's it. It's 8-minute grappling matches, EBI rules, and we got some pretty big names on the card. So there you go.
So I know I saw some wrestlers on. I saw Mo, I saw Steven Abbas, and obviously so our radio show airs on Flow Wrestling. So give us some more wrestling names if there are more. Or Steven and Mo, are those the key wrestlers on your card?
Yeah, we got Mo. Mo's going to take on Vinny Magulienz. That's the main event. And, you know, I'll tell you guys, the one thing about this league and with the EBI rule is somebody's going to lose. It's not like some grappling where you have that default button of a draw or, you know, even where you keep scoring and just look to the points. They will go until somebody taps out. There's an overtime format. So somebody's going to submit. And why that's so interesting, you got Vinny, Abu Dhabi world champion, beat Chris Weidman in 18 seconds, beat Fabricio Verdum in the finals. Either he's going to tap or Mo's going to tap. And you got Mo's never tapped out before. That's never happened. So one of these guys is going to lose, and that's kind of the mystique of it. Of course, Stephen Abbas, who you mentioned, he's going to take on Alex Kanders, who is a Eddie Bravo black belt. But then we've got Jake Shields on the card. Jake Shields is coming in. He's going to take on Chris Lytle. Chris Lytle's got a submission win over Matt Brown. There's a lot of interesting matches.
So let's draw a parallel because, you know, we were talking a little bit by text yesterday, and Tommy and I have been talking about the possibility of pro wrestling in America. I have been a part of two leagues who have attempted to do so and failed. You know, I have my own opinion about what it's going to take, and now you're starting the Submission Underground, which is, I would say, very similar, kind of from ground zero. Chael, what's it going to take for something like Submission Underground or a professional wrestling to be successful in America? What do they need and what are they missing?
Well, I think there's a few things. There's no real recipe. It's not like making chocolate chip cookies where if you do X, Y, and Z and you heat the oven just right and you put the flour and sugar and eggs all together, then it comes out. It doesn't work that way. But in theory, the very first thing we need is people to care.
Yeah.
You need people to tune in and watch. And I get asked all the time. For years I've been asked, what's wrestling need to succeed? And I always give the pocketed answer, well, a little more promotion, a little more marketing, the show could be presented. But I always give that because people can't handle the truth. The truth that wrestling needs is controversy. The biggest story of the year was Schneider versus Gwynn. The second biggest story of the year is when Kevin Dresser called the brands pussy. If the brands had the sense God gave Keith, they would have responded, and then they would have rolled a mat out and sold the tickets, and it would have broken every college record that there was.
Sure.
Nothing creates cash like controversy.
And did you hear the disappointing news that Iowa won't schedule Virginia Tech next year either? I mean, should Dresser go on another tirade or what?
And I understand that those guys are under confines. You got schools, they're not totally open to just come out and respond.
They can do
but
it.
But the smallest response guys, all you have to do is come out and say 2 words: we accept. Roll out the mats, sell the tickets, and watch the records get broken. It was the biggest missed opportunity that I can remember in wrestling, period. That's a big statement. I can't remember a bigger missed opportunity than that one. But I was dumbfounded. It was the second biggest story in all of wrestling in the entire year.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And it is crazy to me that they won't schedule that match next year either, because I agree, like you said, that was awesome. And right after that happened, we all wanted to see those guys go at it. And Iowa does deserve a little bit of credit for putting on, what actually Tommy and I called the event of the year, the Grapple on the Gridiron, where they got 44,000 fans, them versus Oklahoma State in Kinnick Stadium. Were you able to check that one out? What'd you think about it?
Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty cool. Those weren't wrestling fans as much as, look, there was a football game. It was somewhere to come and drink beer and get your seat ahead of time. But we'll take it. It was still good, smart marketing. They did have 44,000. That shattered all the records. And that's not going to be beat anytime soon. They also took on the risk of the elements. That was in the dead of winter. It could have started snowing on those poor guys. Fortunately, they did have weather on their side. It was a good dual meet, but those aren't wrestling fans. They just weren't. You had them. It was a place to drink beer before the football game. Good for them. I don't mean that to sound negative, but that's what happened.
Sure.
So, Chael, I completely agree with you that it's not a chocolate chip cookie recipe. Just, it's a good analogy. But simple question for you. Do you think that we can monetize and make professional wrestling a profit center for our sport? Do you think it's even possible? Because you say controversy creates cash. Do you think if we did a 180 on our behaviors and the way that we conduct ourselves in the public eye so that we can, obviously draw more attention, do you think wrestling would then monetize and be profitable?
I think that it's possible. I don't totally know how to do it. I know that there's a lot of misunderstanding on it. I'll give you an example. There's a movement to see Sagilayev take on Schneider, and whoever's putting up the money for that, be ready to lose every cent that you get. That's not a worldwide phenomenon, but people that are in the business and in the industry and care would love to see that match. I would see that match, and I would raise it a Kyle Dake versus Ben Askren. That would draw more than Sagilayev versus Schneider. So there's always a misunderstanding on that, too. I mean, you got to find two guys that want to wrestle each other. The biggest match that anybody could put on right now, Flo, USAW, Dan Dennis versus Tony Ramos. That's the single biggest match. But I can assure you, if somebody was going to put a tournament together, they would step over $1 to pick up a dime, and they try to put Schneider and Sagilayev, which, again, is a big match. But the people that are our leaders in our industry, they live in a bubble. And they get confused. And it's like, well, you guys put that on one side of town, Grin and Dake. I'll put it on the other side of town, and we'll see whose gate is bigger.
Dennis versus Ramos would be, especially Ramos, I don't know if he gets it 100%. I don't know if he's as exquisite of a promoter or if it's kind of like just by happenstance. but he is one of the most outspoken guys in wrestling, and obviously the little tirade he went on after the Olympic team trials, like you said, was one of the biggest controversies of the year. Wrestling doesn't see stuff like that. So, man, I would like, Chael, you want to promote that match?
Oh, I would love to promote that match. I think those guys would do it. I don't think he'd have to bribe either guy, but yeah, I mean, the drama, who knows how far it would unfold. Is Terry Brands going to show up and walk out with Dennis? I don't know. I mean, how far does it go? Tom definitely would, but now what's Terry do? Terry was Ramos'
Then you
guy.
got Coleman Scott in the corner.
Oh, that'd be some good stuff right there.
Yeah, and if you guys saw Ramos wrestle at the World Cup, he's already adopted a lot of Coleman Scott's style and idiosyncrasies and movements, particularly with dropping the back knee and leaving the lead. He's starting to look like Coleman. And I've always loved wrestlers that are a combination of Iowa and Oklahoma State. I love programs where they've got an Iowa guy and an Oklahoma State guy. Just personally, I like that clash and combination. I think it'd be real interesting to see where Ramos ends up 12 months from now. I think it's going to be a positive.
Nice. So you you mentioned the World Cup there. Did you catch a lot of it, a little bit? I think you were there in person, right?
I didn't get to go in person. I had planned to go. I planned to go and be a guest with Vardis, but I didn't make it out, so I watched it on Flow. I feel like I saw it all. I think one of the bigger surprises is when Jaden got beat. I was on board for the undefeated Jaden train to see how far we could ride that thing, but I mean that's the reality. When you're wrestling this level of guys and you're still you should drop some matches. I was just really into the fact that he hadn't. It was fun.
Yeah, overall, I thought America performed really well. Jaden, like you said, he kind of has so far overperformed our expectations that we shot our expectations way up to the ceiling. He still had a great World Cup. He went 3-1. He beat a lot of really good guys. I mean, he beat the Iranian that was, I believe, a world medalist. And then, another guy who, it was kind of up and down, but he's a younger guy, is Alex Dieringer. He did kind of take a butt whooping from Yazdani, but he had a couple good wins in there. So, and then obviously Snyder was Snyder. Molinaro had a good tournament, but I think the future is looking bright for America. I mean, it really, really looked good for a team-wise.
I agree with that. I think it's looking bright for the whole world, though. You bring up Yazdani. He was in the juniors a couple of years ago against Pico. He keeps changing weight classes. I think he's probably settled in here, but yeah, I mean, he's just a force to deal with. There's young guys all over the place. But to your point, yeah, the Americans have them too. When Burroughs' era ends, Derringer's sitting there waiting. And he's not the only one. There's other guys too. But yeah, Derringer's sitting there waiting. And yeah, he beat at least one world bronze medalist, and he might have beaten two. And then, he took that beating from Iran, but he might have beaten two medalists.
Yeah, I believe he did. I believe the Georgian he wrestled was and the Azerbaijan. But yeah, don't quote me on that. I'm not an expert in international wrestling, but I did like how America was looking there. Obviously, Burroughs was out, had he had the second kid. Let me hit one more topic that I know you're fairly fond of, Chael. I know we don't got a lot of time with you, but I want to hit one more topic. You love how messed up the Russian system is, right? And did you just read this news? I don't know if you read it. Tommy, by your laugh, I'm judging you just read this news. That the vice president of the Russian Wrestling Federation was just found dead in the river.
Yes.
How crazy is that?
And obviously, that's not only is he the vice president, that's Adlan Barayev. I mean, that's as legendary as it gets.
Yeah, and so obviously there was all this controversy.
He beat Dave Schultz, in fact, at the World Championships in '87. But yeah, I know all about that. And when you take one of the greatest athletes alive and say that he can't tread in a little river, it's a little bit suspicious to me.
It is, and with all obviously the controversy that just happened at the Russian Championships, where Dagestan boycotted because of Lebedev is essentially someone bought the matches for Lebedev. I don't know that they've stuck out the culprit there, but the matches were rigged essentially. And now the vice president ends up in the river. I just find that like a wow. You knew it. It's Russia. That kind of stuff could happen, but it's still kind of in 2016. That's a wow to me.
I agree, and it's a weird coincidence, and we'll see if Russia even ends up in the Olympics. I hope that they do, but we'll see. Track and field's out, and I think that more is coming. I liked that the Dagestan wrestlers got up and walked out. There's so much corruption. At some point, you just take your team and go. and they won. They won that battle. They sent all those guys over to Poland this last weekend and put them in another tournament so they could figure out their Olympic team. In fact, at heavyweight was incredible. Makov, who I don't even know how many world titles he's got between the two styles, but he doubled up in medals last year of each style, was not the Russian national champion. So Makov enters, the guy that won the Russian nationals enters, and then, of course, Gatsalov entered. And there was more hammers, too. Uzbekistan said a couple-time Olympian, and we, as America with Gizwowski, we brought home the bronze medal. We brought home the bronze medal there. So, we could beat all those guys. Gwiz had the defending champion, or reigning national champion, beat with 11 seconds left and gave up a push-out, lost 8-7.
Yeah, I saw it. Magomedov, I believe that guy's name is. So, hey, I sound like a terrible wrestling fan, but I know Makov and Gatsalov were in the finals. I was at a wrestling camp. Who won that match?
You know what? I think, I'd have to check, I think they met up in the semifinals.
Oh,
maybe
and
Makov,
I'm pretty sure Makov won 11-0.
11-0?
Then you might want to fact check me. I'm pretty sure I saw that he won 11-0.
No, that is correct.
Which
that
is obviously
correct.
shocking.
Makov teched him, but I'll tell you this.
That is shocking.
Gatsalov grabbed a hold of him. Gatsalov grabbed a hold of him and went for a body lock throw and went straight to his back, gave a 4. Came back to his feet, got in the exact same position, tried the exact same move again, went flat to his back, gave up another 4. So that was 8 of your 11, but Makov was just too big. And other than that, Makov had 1 takedown, 1 push out. There's your 11 points.
Boom. And so
Right.
Makov will be the representative in 2016 in Rio. And then, obviously, he signed the UFC contract, so after that, he'll probably be out to the UFC. Chael, I know you got a workout coming up. We'll let you get out of here unless you got any closing thoughts for us.
No, man, I am. Let me think here. No, I don't have anything. The World Cup was great. We should probably give James Green a shout out. Might have been the wrestler of the day or Molinaro. So that's it for me. Thanks, guys.
All right, appreciate it, Chael. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot, Chael.
All right, Tommy.
Dude, you guys were rocking. I felt like a spectator. I didn't want to chime in. That was great. I can't believe how much he knows about the results and everything. He follows it religiously.
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to bring up another thing. I was like, then I realized, Tommy, as I was about to say it to him, I kind of stuttered, I think. As I realized I was about to say it to him, it was his show I heard it on this morning. Do you want to hear? Do you listen to Chael's show at all?
No, I didn't. What did he say on the show?
So apparently, it was the Russian thing. That was why I kind of stuttered, because I was about to say it, and then I realized, oh, I'm an idiot. I listened to this on Chael's podcast. So apparently, after 2012, a handful of the Russian track and field athletes sent WADA, which is for you guys who don't know, is the World Anti-Doping Association. They sent WADA a bunch of emails, and this is Tommy. This is Olympic medalists. This isn't like nobodies, right? And they sent WADA emails which said essentially, "Hey, we're being forced to dope as a part of the Russian training system. We don't like this. We want to stop. Can you please investigate?" Is what Chael paraphrases, but that's what happened. And WADA does nothing about it. How crazy is that?
Right.
I mean,
wild, man. I mean,
it's wild. And now these these athletes aren't being able to compete because of Russia's training protocols. When it's somewhat apparent that they tried to blow the whistle on the system and it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how you fix something that is that broken, honestly, Ben. I mean, what do you think they should do?
I mean, I guess at this point you can't trust Russia to police itself. I mean, USADA, right? USADA is the United States Anti-Doping Agency, and they police really well. They're a pain in the butt, right? I mean, they make you fill out all these freaking forms, know where you're at every single time. But RUSADA, which is the Russian anti-doping, is apparently the opposite. They're helping give their athletes the performance-enhancing drugs they need to win. But some of these athletes don't even want to take them. And the other podcast I listened to, I was just driving a lot. That's what I was listening to my podcast.
So what did you say? Some of these athletes don't even want to take them? Like, how do you know that, Ben?
That's what they emailed. They emailed and said, hey, we don't want to be part of the system. Could you please investigate to WADA? That's what Chael said. And WADA did nothing about it. It's amazing.
Amazing.
And, they see Adlan Varayev ending up in the river, and they probably don't want to end up the same way, I'm guessing.
Hey, he had been missing for a while, correct?
I don't know. I read the first paragraph, which just said, I believe it was 2 days ago, they found him in a river it wasn't in Dagestan, but I believe it was Chechnya or somewhere close to Dagestan. But I don't know how long I do not know how long he was missing for.
I'm pretty sure Varayev was from Grozny, which is basically, for all intents and purposes, the capital of Chechnya.
Yep.
And that's where he's from, because when I wrestled in Grozny, he was like the second coming. So it was probably, that region where he was found, which is just, I think, just west of the Caucasus, if I remember correctly. But I think he'd been missing for a while, and it's obviously suspicious activity. I really don't think he drowned. I don't think Ivan Yurigin was killed in a car accident either, for that matter. I think that...
Tommy, I didn't know you were a conspiracy theorist. I love it.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I guess I am sometimes. I just don't think that tragic deaths happen to only Russia's best wrestlers. It's just like everyone dies tragically in Russia.
Yeah,
they die. They fall off a bridge, drown in a river, car accident. I just don't think that's really the case. You know what I mean? I don't know how to expand on it and really give. I don't know how. I just don't believe that that's always how it goes down.
Sure, I'll give you that. Now, I don't like the term conspiracy theorist because. I think if you're a person that believes mainstream media gives us the real news 100% of the time, you're kind of a fool, a little bit, right? Someone's running an angle,
right.
And we're not getting the full truth and nothing but the truth 100% of the time. So, definitely a lot of suspicion around that. And Russia, Willie. So my other podcast I was listening to was Willie and CP on Flow Radio Live, and they're talking about kind of what kind of punishments to give athletes if they fail. And so right now it's a two-year suspension. But what they were saying was that with a country like Russia, who's kind of systematically doping, right? They're forcing a lot of the athletes to.
Right.
If one guy gets suspended, they just throw the next guy in, right? And
right.
But so I have a tough time with that because in a country like Russia, where there's a lot of economic hardship. If an athlete goes and wins an Olympic gold medal, it is literally life-changing. That might not be the case in America, but that is the case in Russia, 100%.
I agree. I think that the biggest thing we have to recognize about what happened in Russia, and then even more so in places like Cuba, is that when you win the Olympics, your life is easier for the rest of your life than if you win the Olympics in the U.S. But if you don't win the Olympics, your life is infinitely worse than if you don't win the Olympics in the U.S. So the benefit of winning is greater, and the lack of winning is worse. So you're dealing with two opposite ends of the pendulum. It feels much more like life or death for those guys. So to your point, which I think you're about to make, is these guys are more appropriately filtering their motivation to things that outside of the rules of the game.
Yeah, no, I mean that was one of the points I was going to make is that the motivation is there for them 100%. But the number 2 point I was going to make is say there are some clean athletes, and right, we can't just say every Russian is dirty. We can't say that, Tommy. Now, should they be tested more stringently? Yes. Are some of them dirty? 100%. But what if there's a number 2 or a number 3 guy who's clean and he's actually stayed away from the system? And now they say, okay, well, 61 kilos, you can't go to the Olympics, even though that number 2 or that number 3, he's been doing all the right things, been keeping it clean, and number 1's been cheating. Yeah, kick him out and send the next guy. I don't really see an issue with that.
Right. Hey, Ben, I got a hypothetical for you.
I love hypotheticals. Let's go.
So I, we always, we've talked a lot about how, not you and I, but it's been discussed in the elite American wrestling community, and even amongst just everyone. They kind of put the pieces together here, but there's been rumors that Cuban wrestlers have been bought.
No, that's not rumors. That's fact.
Correct. Okay, so yeah. So anyways, Cuban wrestlers have been bought. And people, some people I've heard say in conversations that when I'm with them, I can't believe that. How could they do that? How could they?
Oh, I get it.
Possibly imagine, doing that when they trained all their life. Don't they want to win the normal way? And my hypothetical is, have you ever been to Cuba, by the way, Ben?
I have. Yeah, I wrestled there in 2010.
Yeah. So there's. I've been there 3 times. There's beautiful parts of Cuba. There's god-awful parts of Cuba. And in Cuba, I mean, if somebody offered you, if you're in the Olympic semifinals, the World semifinals, some guy offers you a briefcase full of cash and it's $100,000, and you know that would allow your grandmother to eat 3 meals a day instead of 1, and it would put your 3 cousins and your niece, back into an apartment instead of living on the streets. And it will allow you to buy a vehicle for you and your wife and your 2 kids, and it would do all these. It would offset all of these unbelievably impoverished things that not many people in America can even comprehend. And do you want to win the Olympics? But what's more important, winning the Olympics the au natural way, or changing the economic status of your family? And I don't mean going from living in a modest home to a mansion. I'm talking about from living in complete and total poverty and being able to have 3 meals a day, have clothes on your back, live under a roof. I mean, these are the things that goes through these guys' minds that people don't really think about. I mean, when you're a Cuban athlete, that's what you think about when you consider being bought
Tommy,
or not.
I'm 100% with you. And I'll tell you, when I was at the World Cup in 2008 in Russia, I was on the elevator. Tommy, it wasn't a secret. I'll tell you who it was. It was Rodriguez. What was his damn first name? Alexis Rodriguez. And it's a big dude, right? You probably wrestled him, so I don't got to tell you how big this guy is.
I wrestled him 4 times.
He's big and he's scary. And I'm on the elevator. It's him and a turkey coach. And he kind of corners this guy in the elevator and says, "Listen, man, I need my money. I need it now." And he had thrown the match in the semis the previous year to whoever the damn Turkish heavyweight was at that point. But I'm thinking, like, let me off this damn elevator. Something's about to go down right now. Like, this is a big, scary guy. I don't want to be here. I don't want to see nothing. I want to get out of here, right?
Wow.
So it wasn't like it was a secret by any means, but 100%. Their GDP is. Good. Their GDP is like $3,000 a year.
So right or wrong, Ben?
No, it's right. No, we can turn. It's right. They're doing the right thing. I mean, if your GDP is $3,000 a year and that's the average income, and it might even be less than that. I might be exaggerating. And these guys are taking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 home. I mean, Tommy, the guy that I lost to in the Olympics, Ivan Fundora. Do you find it a little funny that he's got 6 bronze medals but never a silver or a gold? Because I find that suspicious.
Yo Romero won the Worlds when I think he was either 19 or 20 and never won it again. But he medaled like 6 times.
Yeah.
But he medaled 6 times, so it wasn't like the world title he got was a flash in the pan. He got the world title, and then he was elite for 10 years after that and happened to medal all the time but never won the gold.
Yeah. No, I hear you loud and clear. It happens. I don't blame any of the Cubans. I mean, it sucks, right? And it sucks especially because I don't think a lot of Americans are doing it. It's mostly the Russians doing the paying off of the Cubans.
I don't think it happens in America. I don't think so. I really don't think that we do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I will tell you one. I won't tell you any names right now, Tommy. I'll tell you off air, but not on air. Not that it doesn't happen, but it's an older generation, so a little bit past our time. The Takti Cup, you know what that is in Iran?
Of course.
Okay, so the American contingent goes over to the Takti Cup, and this one wrestler does. I think he either won or took silver, and he got some cash on the award stand, like $3,000, $2,500. It says something to that effect, and so he's bragging about it at the hotel later, right? And this other American chimes in. He goes, "Oh yeah, look at this!" And he opens up an envelope. And this American I'm speaking of,
I know who it is.
Okay, well, so let me finish the story. So he's a world champion. He says, "Well, look at this," and he pulls out I want to say it was $14,000. And they're like, what the hell? How the hell did you get that? And he goes, well, the first Iranian paid me $8,000 to beat me, and the second Iranian paid me $6,000. I got kids to feed. I don't give a damn about the Takti Cup. Is that the same story you heard?
Oh yeah, it is. I know. So
let's
anyways,
not act like it's exclusively Cubans, right? And isn't there the story? Okay,
right.
let me get
the thing
this.
is that I'm not saying I don't. I agree. I think we both agree mostly, Ben. But I'm not saying that what they're doing is right. I'm just not going to say it's wrong.
I'm
saying
not
it's
right.
It's wrong because
if I'm a Cuban, I'm feeding my kids.
Yeah, well, that's why it's not wrong.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Is that's why it's not wrong because I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
And if I had 4 kids and they were, I mean, could you imagine feeding your kids less than 3 meals a day? Could you imagine your kids? Could you imagine your child saying, "I'm hungry," and there's nothing you can do about it? That is the world these people live in.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
You cannot possibly put yourself in their shoes without really thinking long and critically about when they take the buyout, what they're doing it for.
Yeah,
and
no, I'm telling you, Tommy, I'm taking the money. If I'm a Cuban, I'm taking the money.
Right. And like I said, I don't think it's wrong. I'm not going to say it's the right thing. It's just not wrong. I would not judge somebody to do it under those circumstances. You know, I could see myself doing it or not doing it, but I'm not going to judge somebody when they can't feed their kids or when their own mother is living in a cardboard box. It's like, you know what? Desperate times call for desperate measures, and I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna geography was my major, so I am interested in finding out exactly how poor the Cubans are. Man, okay. So I was underestimating, Tommy. It's $6,000 a year GDP, U.S. dollars. That's still pretty damn bad.
Yeah,
right
there you have it. So when someone offers you 40, what's the average American salary?
Average American salary is the GDP is 50,000 in America.
All right. So what's 50 divided by 6?
That's roughly 8 times.
So our average GDP is 8 times the Cuban, and then to add to that, they're well below that's below the poverty line. So if it's 8 times, if it's 100 versus 800, it's like, well, don't cry too much about it. You can still have a means of living, but $6,000. I mean, $6,000 doesn't work anywhere.
That doesn't go far.
It doesn't work anywhere. It doesn't work anywhere.
So yeah.
So anyways, that was a good hypothetical way to end our show, I guess.
Yeah, we kind of got off on a tangent, but hell, international wrestling, that's what's coming up. So I guess we're saying how many Cuban wrestlers are throwing a match in Rio? Any of them that get paid?
Exactly.
I'm
not going to judge those guys. I hold the countries that I hold those mobsters that exploit that situation. That's the people that need freaking strung up, in my opinion.
Well, man, they're just helping the poor.
Oh, God.
Well, right? You want to get paid for your skills. Cubans are getting paid for their skills. Hey, let me throw another one at you. Another a story, since I brought up one story. And I can't confirm or deny this because at this time I was 12. But so Angle goes 1-1 through the overtime with the Iranian, right? Who what's his name? The Iranian, was it Abbas Jadidi or was it Jadidi? So someone told me, and like I said, I was 12. I wasn't following wrestling. Someone told me that an Iranian guy walked by the referee stand in the overtime and dropped a briefcase next to the referee stand, and it was like obvious to everyone in the arena. So that the officials felt like, whether they were going to already or not, they felt like there was no way they could pick Iran, or else it would look like they were being bribed. Have you heard that story or no?
I never heard that story, no, but that's interesting.
That's what someone told me. Like I said, I wasn't there. I can't confirm it or deny it.
Oh man, that's international sports for you. I mean, it happens in FIFA. You saw what happened with FIFA soccer.
Oh,
I mean,
FIFA was like uber corrupt.
Yeah, beyond corrupt.
Beyond corrupt. Okay, let's see. What do we got coming up, Tommy? What do we got coming up the next few weeks?
Well, it's late June. We've got Fargo coming up.
We're 4 weeks from Fargo.
We should probably cover some recruiting. July 1st is coming up. That's when coaches can, reach out to kids, although the recruiting dynamic is different nowadays. We should probably have an episode about the recruiting dynamic now versus when you and I were coming out.
It's way different, way earlier. Who'd be an expert on that topic? Was some college coach or what? But if we got a college coach,
they've got to be PC though. I'd love to talk to like an ex-college coach who can just shoot it straight and be like, listen, I've got to convince a 15 or 16-year-old kid to come to my college, and I know damn well that he doesn't know how to think for himself at that age, and it's basically exploitation. But if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, and then I can't compete. So I'm basically recruiting children to come wrestle in college, because obviously you can see that that's how I feel about it.
100%.
And so it would be we should marinate on that these next couple nights, and we should probably have a recruiting discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a super expert in that topic, but the number one, obviously, of next year is Spencer Lee, and he is already spoken for as he is going to Iowa, and Iowa's got I think 4 guys signed up already, so they're moving early in the recruiting rankings. Who else is? Do Ohio State have anyone committed for next year?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm gonna look right here. Let's see. We got Arizona State's got Missouri has a couple. One of the wrestlers I coach actually is headed to Missouri, and I know they got a St. Edwards guy, which you freaking love St. Edwards. Michigan's got
which St. Ed's kid they get?
They got a kid named Jared Campbell. He was a 220-pound flow national champ.
Gotcha.
Supposed to be really good from what I hear. I want to say they might have another. Let me find it. I want to say. Oh, Cornell's got a good class already because they got Vitaly Aruja and Yanni, which are, you can never say who's a miss and who's going to be a star, because more of these guys are going to be misses than we can estimate. But man, those two kids are good. They are really, really, really good.
Well, I feel like there's every year, and this will tie into our recruiting episode, but every year there's more and more guys that are can't misses. Like back in the day when I was coming out, there was always like 1 or 2 guys that were just, you knew they were going to win, and then the rest of them were crapshoots. And now I feel like there's like maybe 10 a year where it's like they're going to win.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm going to call your bluff a little bit, because I remember, I think it was someone just did a recruiting rewind. It might have been Willie and CP on their show, and it was from 2011, so 5 years ago, right? When the class currently that's graduated high school. And man, it was shocking how many are missing.
Right.
And I remember, obviously I was in college coaching at the time, so I remember seeing those guys come out of high school, and now I'm thinking like, holy crap, he wasn't any good. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I only said there was 10 guys in the whole country. I didn't say there was like 100, but there used to only be 1 or 2 where it's like, take it to the bank, he's winning. Everyone else was kind of like, yeah, he's good. I mean, obviously blue chip, but we'll see. And I just feel like it's more and more so of an assurance. There's more and more guys that are you can take it to the bank. They're going to be a 3 or 4 time All-American.
Okay, wait. So let's get you, since we're on radio. This is going to be on. What are we on the record, right, Tommy? So, how do I get to the big board here? I'm going to the senior big board. I'm trying to, at least. The heck, Flo, what are you doing here? 2016 senior big board. Why is nothing coming up? I was going to quiz you on who you thought was going to be a superstar. Let's see. Because I'm not logged in. That's why. Duh. Okay, Tommy, give me a second here. I'm going to log in on the Flow Big Board. I'm going to quiz you. And then 5 years from now, we're going to come back to this episode, and we're going to say, Tommy full of crap or not. Mark Hall.
Guaranteed.
How many time All-American?
And when I say guarantee, when I say guarantee, that means 3-time All-American or better.
Okay, Nick Soriano.
Not a guarantee.
I say not a guarantee also. Alex Marinelli.
Not a guarantee.
I agree. Nick Renan.
Not a guarantee.
I think he's guaranteed. Mason Manville, I don't think he's 5. I don't think he's
not
going to see the light of day.
Not a guarantee.
Okay, Hayden Hidlay.
Not a guarantee.
Tommy, you only got the only guarantee you got is number 1.
I'm willing to take Reenan back.
Okay, I go for Reenan. All right, let's go. Griffin Perriott.
Not a guarantee.
See how hard it is?
It is hard.
It's hard, dude. It is hard saying, and that right there, I just listed the top 7 guys of any weight. That's the top 7, pound for pound.
I'll take Reenan back.
Okay, I'll give you a few on here who I think are going to be really good. I think Mitchell McKee. I think he's going to be the real deal. Impressed.
Yes.
Bo Bresky, obviously he's from this area where I'm, Wisconsin. I think he's going to be the real deal. Let me get a few more. I think that Dakota Gear kid, I don't know why he's all the way down at 22. He's going to be good. I think he's going to be really good. Who else? Evan Xander Wick, definitely possible. Well, I guess that's I think Ben Darmstadt. He's another kid. I'm biased because I know him a little bit.
Man, I guess there's less than I thought, dude.
It is. It's hard, isn't it?
It is hard. It is. It really is.
Hard. Okay. Well, listen. You have a fun vacation. We'll hop back on.
Let's do a recruiting episode next week, man.
Recruiting episode next week. So we're going to talk about the who, the what, the why, the when, the how, all that stuff.
We'll find an appropriate guest by then.
All right. I appreciate it, man.
Brother.
See ya.
We'll see you. Bye.
You are listening to the T-Row and Funky Show, brought to you by Defend Soap. Defend what you have built.